till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the back. Horse stock is attached.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Protocol 36. Today is a different video. It's more of a Q&A video. I basically asked everyone on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube if they wanted me to do a Q&A video, and a lot of people said yes, and I even received a few questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer them. Before I begin, I just want to thank every single one of you who submitted a question. This truly means a lot to me, so yeah, let's begin. Starting with the Twitter questions, Spider-Man QOTD asked, what is your favorite and least favorite Spider-Man film? Starting with my least favorite, because I just want to get the negatives out of the way. So my least favorite is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. To me, the reason why is because you're kind of a mess, and also, the script doesn't really do justice to Andrew Garfield's and Emma Stone's performances, who are phenomenal actors. So, and also, there are a lot of choices that the film made I'm not really a big fan of. It's crazy because before the film was released, I was really looking forward to it, and when people weren't excited for it, I was still excited for it. So the fact that when I finally got to watch it, I was a bit let down. So yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is my least favorite. My favorite, however, is basically a tie. It's either Spider-Man 2 or Into the Spider-Verse. However, if you were to put a gun in my head and ask me to pick one, I would say Spider-Man 2. That film speaks to me in a whole nother level. The acting, the writing, Sam Raimi's directing, everything about that film is just phenomenal. The way it's shot, it's so beautiful. It's beautiful looking as well. The story, most importantly, it's so good. Tobey Maguire is so great in this role, and Kristen Dunst, even though a lot of people don't like Kristen Dunst in the trilogy, in Spider-Man 2, she was pretty good in my opinion. But yeah, it's just, I think Spider-Man 2 is, in my opinion, is one of my favorite films of all time. That film really, when I watched it as a kid, it really blew my mind on how good, to me, this is an example of a great film. This is just, man, I'm just just talking about it right now, it's just, it gives me goosebumps because how much I love this film. It really solidified that I was a Spider-Man fan from then on, and I still remember the day, the first day I watched it, and it still blows my mind. The action scenes, the suits, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is perfection, and also I love the way Sam Raimi and the crew takes a lot of influences from the comics, and even takes a lot of story elements especially from the Stan Lee and Steve Ditko run, and also John Romita Sr., especially with the famous Spider-Man No More, when he's walking away from the costume after he puts in the trash. Oh my god, it's just beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna say my favorite film, Spider-Man 2, least favorite, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Riley Parks asked, what is your favorite and least favorite DC reveal? I'm gonna get the negatives out of the way once again, and I'm gonna say my least favorite was probably, there isn't really much least favorite. Every reveal was pretty much spot on. However, I'm gonna say probably CW's Flash season 7. It's probably my least favorite. I still watch the show, at least when it was on. Right now, season 7 is coming out early 2021. But yeah, I'm gonna say the season 7 reveal, mostly because the show itself pretty much went downhill after season 3. Season 1 I thought is still great. I think it's still amazing. Season 2 I thought it was pretty awesome too. Season 3 I thought was alright, however after that it just went downhill. It still has its moments. Like, there are some of season 6 episodes where it has one of the best episodes of the show. However, overall it's just I'm not really a big fan of the show anymore. I grew out of it. I don't know why it went so downhill afterwards, but the cast is still great, you know, but it's just, you know, the writing, the story is just, yeah, I'm not a fan of it anymore. My favorite DC reveal, I have so many favorites, however, for me it's clearly the Batman. I think that's everyone's favorite, but for me the trailer is perfection. Like not to mention the panel where Matt Reeves is talking about the film. You can clearly tell the passion he has for the character, not only for the film, but also the character of Bruce Wayne himself. You get the sense that he understands the character, and the way he talks about the film, the way he just, the energy he radiates, I love it. Like I love it, and you can tell he put his heart and soul, his blood and sweat into this film. So yeah, I'm gonna say the Batman. It's funny because I want DC to focus on other characters too, but however, you know, when it comes to the Batman, and when it comes to a great director like Matt Reeves, who directed the Planet of the Apes trilogy, which were amazing, so it's kind of hard to say anything else other than the Batman. Though Wonder Woman was awesome, Wonder Woman 84, the trailer looks awesome. The Flash film concept art, the suit looks great. The Snyder Cut trailer looks awesome too. Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League look amazing, so I'm excited for all of them. However, the number one is the Batman, and yeah, I wanna talk about Robert Pattinson's Batman more. However, you know, there's a question about that later. So yeah, for me, it's the Batman. Ivan at Gotham Knight 14 asked favorite football team. My favorite football team, I don't really watch football anymore, at least not as much as I used to. I just watch the World Cups and all that. However, my favorite football team is Arsenal. I supported them as a kid, not as much now, even though they won, I think, a few weeks ago, or was it last month? No, I think it was a few weeks ago. Yeah, they won a few weeks ago, which was great to hear. However, even though, you know, Arsenal is my favorite football team, I don't really watch as much football as I want to. Spider-Man asked top 5 superheroes. You can have DC, Marvel, anything else included if you want. So I'm gonna start with number 5 and say Daredevil and Black Panther. I've always loved those two characters as a kid. Ever since Daredevil was introduced to me in the 90s Spider-Man anime series, I've always loved the character. The fact that, you know, he's so different compared to other superheroes, him being blind, even though that's a disadvantage, is actually his biggest advantage. So that has always been a really interesting aspect of the character to me. Also, Black Panther, I was introduced to him in the 90s Fantastic Four show, where he introduced, and I've never really seen anything like the character, like that type of character before. And yeah, it's really cool that, you know, not only is it a king of a fictional country, but also the fact that, you know, he looks so great. Like, his suit is so awesome. He's always had one of the best comic book suits ever. So yeah, I'm gonna cheat a bit for number 5 and say Black Panther and Daredevil. Number 4, The Flash, specifically Wally West. He's always been a character who's always been my favorite version of the Flash, and it also helps that the fact that, you know, he's the fastest Flash as well, because of the fact that he has a spiritual connection to the Speed Force compared to other characters like Jay Garrick and Barry. I've always loved Barry. No hate towards the character. He's always been a great character. However, to me, Wally West has always been a favorite of mine ever since I saw him in the Justice League anime series. So yeah, Wally West is number 4. Number 3, Superman. Superman has always been a great character. I've never really found him boring. He's never been a character who I pretty much said he's a boring character. No, like, to me, I've always loved Superman as a kid. Yes, he's a bit too OP, but however, that's what's one of the most interesting aspects of the character. Not the fact that, you know, he's OP for the sake of being OP, but the fact that, you know, he's OP, but yet he knows how to use his strengths properly and also uses his powers to inspire other people. That's his main superpower, not the fact that, you know, he can lift 10 quintillion tons, even though he can lift more than that. But the fact that, you know, he inspires people to hope for a better future, for a better tomorrow. You know, one of the reasons why he's called Man of Tomorrow is because of that. So yeah, to me, Superman has always been the greatest superhero ever. Number 2, Batman, because he's Batman. But jokes aside, Batman to me is such a fascinating character. When I was introduced to him in the Batman animated series, he's a character who's never really had any superpowers. And at first, you know, as a kid, you would be like, oh, that's, you know, that might be a bit lame. But then when you really watch the show, and also look at him in the Justice League show, you really see him as the badass that he is. Like, it doesn't matter if he has superpowers or not. The guy is Batman. He doesn't let his limits define who he is. He's always about making Gotham a better place. He's always been a character who's trying to do the right thing regardless of his situation. And the fact that, you know, he's always been a character who's mentally broken. He's always been one of the most compassionate superheroes to me. Batman to me has always been so compassionate, not just because of the fact that he doesn't kill, because, you know, he believes that he would be no different from the bad guys, and also would be no different from the person who, you know, killed his parents, and also he believes that if he did kill, he would never stop. But also the fact that, you know, he's a loving character, even though he's not best at showing it. He's not really a character who likes to show that part, but he does show it regardless. That is who he is in his heart. So number 2, Batman. Number 1, I think many of you have guessed, but Spider-Man. Spider-Man has always been a character who I've always, you know, admired and always loved ever since I saw his red and blue spandex in the 90s animated Spider-Man show, which introduced me to the character for the first time. To me, you know, he's always been the most relatable superhero ever. And the fact that, you know, he's just a character who, you know, who started off as a teenager, who just wasn't a sidekick whatsoever, but just a guy who was, you know, trying to, you know, make ends meet, but also trying to save lives at the same time, just spoke to me because of the fact that, you know, his life wasn't easy. Like, every time he did something good, something would backfire, you know. I think, you know, Bill Roseman and Brian Intar said it best when they say that, you know, when Peter Parker loses, Spider-Man wins. When Spider-Man loses, Peter Parker wins. You know, there's always this, you know, balance between, you know, his alter egos, because of the fact that, you know, it's hard. Like, it's hard for him because he's trying to live a normal life. He's trying to do all those things. And at the end of the day, he's just a normal guy, and that's one of the most, you know, special things about the character. He's just a guy who's just trying to do what's right. You know, who goes from a selfish hero to a selfless one. So I'm gonna say, you know, Spider-Man to me has always been a character who, if a superhero existed today, you know, he would most likely be someone like Spider-Man. You know, he or she would want to keep the identity a secret. It would be, you know, it would be hard. So yeah, I'm gonna say, you know, Peter Parker. Tech Spider from YouTube asks, who do you want to work for? Like Marvel, DC, IDW, or your own thing like game, comic, acting, game making? I'm probably going to pick between DC and Marvel, between those two. It depends who, you know, comes to me first. I'm just going to, like, you know, give out my resume to both of them and see what they say. But yeah, I've always been, you know, attached to both of those companies, mostly because I grew up with them the most, and also I've read their comics the most too. You know, I'm both a Marvel and DC fan. I can't really pick between those two, because the characters that they have, the world that they have, just speak to me in a whole another level. You know, even though, you know, Spider-Man's my number 1 favorite character, I've always loved Superman, I've always loved the Batman, I've always loved the Flash, the Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. You know, I've always loved those characters. So yeah, I'm gonna pick between Marvel and DC. It depends who they are. If Marvel, you know, says, hey, listen, we're working on a Spider-Man project, do you want to come? I'm probably gonna say yes immediately. But yeah, I'm gonna say, you know, both, because, you know, they're both awesome in my opinion. So now for Instagram questions. Ibn Saeed _ asks, do you think we'll be getting a Shazam and Superman vs Black Adam movie? Yes, I definitely think we will. Sooner or later we will. However, I think that will happen in a Black Adam sequel. If that were to happen, I'm going to assume that, you know, the first film is going to do really well. Not just because, you know, the Rock is in it. He's an automatic draw when it comes to box office, but also, you know, how well Shazam did and how well, you know, DC is doing right now. So I'm gonna say, you know, Aquaman was a surprise hit. So if Aquaman was a surprise hit, even though he's, you know, he's always been a character who, you know, who I loved personally, a lot of people saw him as a joke earlier. So Black Adam has always been a character, you know, people has treated seriously. Maybe not to general audiences, because, you know, they never really knew him. Not that they don't take him seriously, but because he wasn't really a popular character to begin with. But to fans, he is a big deal. So I'm gonna say yes. When we do get a Black Adam sequel, they will do Shazam and Superman versus Black Adam. I don't think it will happen in a Shazam film. I do think Black Adam will be in the Shazam franchise, whether it's in the second film post-credit scene or in the third film. I do think Black Adam will be there, and I don't think, you know, Black Adam will show up in the Superman film, because Superman has so many stories to draw from, which we haven't really seen yet in the big screen. So I'm gonna say yes, but in a Black Adam sequel. I could be wrong though, but who knows. I think I'm gonna butcher this name. Sorry if I do, but Ademain Tafi. Sorry if I butchered the name. I'm really sorry. Really sorry. But he asked, would you do walkthroughs of future superhero games on your channel? Yes, hopefully I will. That hopefully, you know, that is one of the goals to, you know, in my channel, to do, you know, walkthroughs or even better live streams when it comes to my channel, when it comes to like superhero games. I can't do it now, unfortunately, because, you know, I don't have the equipment for it. But however, that is the plan, you know, eventually in the future, to do something like that, you know, to do a live stream, to chat to you guys, and also for you guys to chat to me as well. And you know, so we can, you know, talk about stuff. Any questions you have, I can answer, and any questions I have, you guys can answer. So yeah, I think something like that would be awesome. But yeah, I would love to do something like that. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments. I would love to do something like that if you guys want. So yeah, definitely, hopefully. Salka97_ asks, how do you feel about the new Batman actor? As I mentioned before, the Batman was my favorite reveal from DC fandom. And how I feel about Robert Pattinson as Batman, to be honest, I'm loving what I'm seeing for Robert Pattinson right now. He has an awesome suit. He's also a phenomenal actor. I know a lot of people just see him the Twilight guy. However, to me, you know, Robert Pattinson has always been more than that. So, and the fact that, you know, he's a phenomenal actor. And I heard great stuff about Tenet 2, and he's in that film. So not only am I excited for this film, but also excited for what he has to offer too. And he's just, to me, he's always been an awesome actor. He's always been a character, even though I wasn't really skeptical. However, I was like, hey, this is, you know, when he was announced, I was like, this is an interesting choice. So I was willing to give him a chance to begin with, because, you know, in other projects he was so good, and I don't think, you know, I don't think we should, you know, judge an actor just by one film, even a franchise. But that, you know, there are multiple works that they have done, and I think, you know, judging from other things he's done, I think Robert Pattinson will be an amazing Batman. Potentially, he could be the best Batman, at least in my opinion. He could be. I think he could be, because of the fact that, you know, how passionate Matt Reeves was, the director. So the fact that, you know, he's so passionate about this film and the character, he picked the actor who was, you know, the best Batman for his story. So, and if his story is great, which I believe it is, I think Robert Pattinson would be great as Batman. So yeah, these are the questions that I've received. You know, this is really fun. I would love to do something like this in the future again. This was, you know, great. Once again, thank you to everyone who submitted their questions. I really appreciate it. And if you want something like this in the future as well, by all means, tell me in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and one more subscribe to begin Protocol 36.